A landmark longitudinal study analyzing over 588,000 running sessions from thousands of athletes has begun to redefine what we know about injury risk and resilience. Drawing from wearable data, self-reported pain, biomechanical patterns, and training behaviors, this unprecedented dataset offers the most comprehensive real-world view yet of how runners get injured, and more importantly, how they stay healthy. The findings challenge several long-held beliefs in endurance sports and offer a roadmap for smarter, more individualized training. One of the most striking conclusions from the study is that injury risk is often not predicted by weekly mileage alone. While excessive volume still plays a role in some overuse injuries, the data shows that abrupt changes in intensity, especially hard sessions added during periods of fatigue, are far more predictive of injury onset. In fact, many runners who increased mileage gradually but inserted poorly timed speed work, hills, or long intervals were more likely to report injuries within 7 to 10 days of the spike, regardless of their overall weekly distance. Another key finding was that individual variability far outweighs one-size-fits-all rules. For example, the commonly recommended 10% weekly mileage increase was safe for some runners but risky for others, depending on factors like sleep quality, stress levels, past injury history, and even time of day they preferred to train. The researchers found that the most resilient runners weren't necessarily the strongest or fastest. They were the most consistent in their recovery behaviors. Runners who prioritized rest days, slept 7.5 hours or more on average, and reduced training load after poor sleep or illness had significantly fewer injuries across the study period. Perhaps even more surprising was the role of biomechanics and asymmetry. Wearable sensors revealed that small deviations in stride length, cadence, or vertical oscillation, particularly when they emerged late in a session or after fatigue, often preceded injury by several days or even weeks. These changes were typically invisible to the runner in real time, suggesting that subtle compensations, not major form flaws, were what quietly pushed tissues toward failure. Interestingly, runners who frequently changed shoes, alternating between at least 2 different pairs per week, tended to have fewer of these gait shifts, suggesting that varied mechanical loading may promote resilience by preventing overuse of specific patterns. The study also confirmed the outsized role of prior injury. Runners with a history of injury within the last 12 months were nearly twice as likely to be injured again, especially if they resumed previous intensity levels without adjusting training volume or introducing corrective strength work. However, those who incorporated low-load strength training and mobility work at least twice weekly reduced injury risk by over 40%. The protective effect wasn't just physical, it also correlated with better subjective fatigue scores and more adaptive pacing decisions during high-effort sessions. Crucially, the findings support a shift away from reactive injury management to proactive risk monitoring. Instead of waiting for pain to appear, the data suggests that monitoring changes in stride variability, recovery quality, and session difficulty relative to perceived effort can offer early warnings. In runners who made small adjustments in response to these signals, such as shortening a run, taking an extra rest day, or modifying pace, injury rates were significantly lower compared to those who followed rigid plans. The scale and scope of the study reinforce a broader truth. Injury is rarely the result of a single bad decision, but more often the outcome of overlooked patterns and ignored signals. Resilience, on the other hand, is not a trait but a behavior, something cultivated through awareness, flexibility, and respect for recovery. What 588,000 running sessions show is that staying healthy isn't about avoiding hard training altogether, but about knowing when and how to apply stress, and when to pull back. In the age of big data, these insights have the potential to transform how we train. Algorithms based on broad averages are giving way to personalized risk profiles. Runners equipped with the right data and the willingness to adjust may no longer need to learn the hard way. They can train smarter, avoid common pitfalls, and stay on the road longer. The future of injury prevention, it seems, isn't just science-driven. It's behavior-aware, dynamic, and deeply individual.